Hi, today we have something special for you. We are going to record and you are going to watch, hopefully, a review of Outlive, a game that was kickstarted recently and recently got available in Poland in Polish. This is the Polish version you are seeing here, but that really won't matter for you as I will tell you what each of the parts here are. So the game is about people who survived a atomic apocalypse and are trying to build their bunkers and survive in this environment long enough for the organization Convoy to come and pick them up and take them to a safe haven that they can live happily ever after, leaving the rest of the tribe behind to perish in the radiation that happens in the environment around them. So the things that we have here are we're getting some meeples in your player color with some numbers on them. I'll get to that in a minute. You're also getting a cube that will be used to mark the radiation level that you will be that your bunker will be exposed to. You are also getting some resources. We have metal, we have canned food, we have meat, we have wood, microchips, water, and ammunition, and some big pile of survivors that will be coming to your bunker and hopefully helping you survive in this harsh environment. We are also getting some tiles that will represent your rooms in your bunker and some tiles for items and equipment that you will be able to find in the land around. So this is a two-player game setup, and it will be different for different numbers of players. So depending how many players are in the game, you will be placing different numbers of resources on the board each time, which is also marked here on the map in every spot here. So the first thing you need to do is to select a player board with your color here on the top right corner, and then each player will draw two leader cards from a deck and then choose one. So let's choose now. We have this person here and this player will choose here. So what this does for us is it shows us a couple of things. First, it shows us a beautiful artwork of the person, and they are pretty thematic. So if you see here Lily Rose Welly, she's a geek, it says on the card, and she's 20 years old. And also it shows us the starting resources we have. So she is starting with 3 microchips. So let's take them here and place them on our player board here. And she also starts with a backpack, so we take the backpack token and place it here on the left side of the player board, which indicates that this is damaged and we need to repair it. Now the last thing this card shows us is the positions of our 4 meeples on the main board. So there are some spaces here on the board, and there's a little chart to show us where we should put our meeples. The places the numbers we're placing in each of the spot are up to you entirely, but we need to put them in the indicated spots here. You'll notice that I'm placing them lying down, and this will matter in a moment. So then Lisa Valentine here starts with 3 ammo rounds here. So let's place them in the designated spot, and also we have her meeples that will start in these positions right here. One here and one here. So then we check which of the leaders in our game is the oldest, and that player will receive the first player marker to indicate that they're going first. The next thing we need to do is to draw 6 of these advanced tiles. That's 2, 4, 5, 6 for one player, and 3, 4, 5, 6 for the other player, and you will not be getting any more during the game. So of these 6 tiles, you need to choose 4 for the entire game, because you will not be building any more of those. So let's select just randomly for the sake of brevity. There we go. And you will be placing these, they're double-sided, which with one side showing the not build room and the other side showing the built rooms. We'll be flipping them around during the game. So that's what will happen at the beginning. Now you have a chance to build one of the rooms for free. So let's just choose randomly. This person will build this one, and this person, let's say, will build this one. And then we can move our 4 initial survivors that we have in the airlock to the rooms we have built. So let's say this person will move their tokens here on these designated spots, and we of course want some survivors as well here. So now we have the first special ability. By accident they have built the exact same room, which gives us the ability to lower the cost of building rooms, which I will tell you about in a second. So we are basically ready to start the game now. The first thing in a turn that happens is the dawn. During the dawn, you will fill the spaces on the board with resources, depending on the number of players, and then you will flip the card, the event card here, on the event track to see what kind of event is going to hunt us during the game. And this event works on every player in the game, so every player is haunted by this in the same way, but only one player will be able to resolve it and gain points of it. As you can see on the left hand side of the card, there's a number, and this is how many points you will be getting if you successfully complete this event in the night phase. Down below you can see resources that will be needed to complete this event, and on the right hand side there's a description what this event actually does to us. And this one in particular says that every bunker needs to kill off one of their survivors. So I believe what we should do is to kill one of these. So now we are ready to start taking our actions. The way it works in game is that every meeple has a number printed on its side, and while it's lying down, that depicts that it's inactive, it hasn't activated yet. So we can take one of those meeples, you choose you choose yourself which one would you like to pick up, and move it 1 or 2 spaces around the board. So there's no jumping across the board. There are little arrows printed on the spots, on the spaces, so that you know where you can go. So let's say for this event we need 4 metal and 3 wood. So I believe the player will, the red player, that is the first one, will move her meeple number 3 to here and stand it up, showing that it has activated yet now, and it can be encountered later by other players, which I'll tell you about in a second. So now we have 3 actions, because this is the meeple with a 3 printed on. So if she selected meeple number 4, she would have 4 actions with it, and likewise meeple number 5 will have 5 actions. We have selected the number 3, so we have 3 actions in this spot. What we can do with these actions depends largely on the spot that we have selected. So here, this is the forest, and we can spend 1 action to take a wood token and place it in our bunker, or we can spend more actions to hunt in the woods and kill some animals to get food. The way it works is these tokens have the red numbers on the bottom, which shows the strength of the animal. We need to spend our actions, our meeple's actions, equal to the strength number of the animal in order to kill it, basically. And with a 3, there's no way we will defeat this 7, so we would need to bump our number up. And the way you do this is you spend ammo. You have those little ammo counters, which Lisa starts with, but we have only 3, so, and 3 here, so that would total of 6, and we will not be able to kill this 7. But let's say we would take this token and place it on our player board to indicate that we have killed one of this kind of animal. They're color coded and also coded with numbers, so every animal of this color will be strength of 7. Will have strength of 7, and the numbers up top, the black numbers shows how much meat it gives us. So the first time we kill this red animal gives us 5 meat. So we would take 5 meat tokens and place it on our board. And then the next time we would kill, let's say this is gone, the next time we would kill that animal and take this token, we would gather 6 meat, and then 7 and 8, etc. So the more animals of a kind you are hunting, the better you are at skinning them and scavenging resources from them, so scavenging food basically. But we will not do this because we need wood and metal. So we will spend all of the 3 actions here to gather the wood tokens, so we have some wood. And now there's the other player's turn, and she will go to do basically the same. So because she also wants to have wood, because that's a valuable resource. So she will, let's say, pick up this 5. Another thing of notice here, she could not go here because there's her meeple here, so you cannot end the move on a space that already contains your meeple. You can pass through it, but you cannot stop. So if we go here, 2 things will happen. First, we'll be able to spend our 5 actions to gather materials from this place, but also we would exert pressure on the other player. So long as you enter a space and there's another meeple that is standing up, you will exert pressure on that meeple. The amount of pressure you exert depends on the number you have. If your number is higher by 1 to the other meeple, you exert a pressure of 1. And so in this case, when I entered with a meeple of 5 and the meeple 3 is standing there, we exert 2 points of pressure. So in this case, the red player or the orange player will need to give us 2 resources of their choice. But if they do not want it, they could basically shoot us to lower the amount of pressure. For every ammo token spent in this manner, they will reduce the pressure exerted on them by 1. So if they would not like to, in this case, if Lisa wouldn't like to give us any materials, she would need to spend 2 ammo to equal the pressure that the blue player exerts, and no resources would change hands. And now we have the 5 actions we can take. So we will, with no ammo, there's no chance we will kill this animal. So we will just take the 3 wood here and place it on our player boards. There we go. So that's the first actions done. And we will go around the table, each player taking 1 action with their meeple until every meeple is moved and standing up. So what does the other spaces do? Well, these 3 spaces here work basically the same way. So we take wood here in the forest, we take metal here in the quarry, and also we can kill animals. And here in the Luna Park, we can take microchips and hunt animals. Then there's the military base, in which we can find ammunition, and then there is the little lake here in the military base, on which the algae grow. You can spend 1 action to take the algae, flipping this tile here, indicating that no one else can take the algae. We basically scoop up all there is, and then you can lower the radiation here on the track by 1. There's the dam, in which you can gather some water, which, as we will learn later, it's a pretty valuable resource. But in order to do that, you need to run the purifier built into the dam. But to do that, you need to, as it's indicated here on the board, spend a microchip for every action to take 1 water. The next space is here. This is the cargo ship that for some reason broke into the bridge here. And in this spot, you can acquire some canned food, which is better than meat because it does not spoil. And also you can acquire some more survivors for your bunker. That's the one way to get them. And how you do it is you take a meeple and you place it on the spot equal to the number you have on your meeple. So the 3 would go here. and then no other meeple number 3 of other player can go here. But the upside is that the higher number you take, so if we placed that 5 here instead, we would take 3 canned food tokens and 1 survivor. But if we only place the number 3 here, we would take only 1 survivor and 1 canned food. You might ask, what's number 6? There's no meeple number 6. Well, there's an item that's a grappling hook, which allows you to move up 1 on this track. So if I took number 4, for example, I could stand on the 5 spot with the grappling hook. So if you have number 5 and place it here, you can basically move to the space number 6 and get the most of the cargo ship. And there are those 2 cities, Blackwood and Silent Peak, here on the board. They work in the same way and they have the same resources. The first thing you can do is you can spend an action to get one of those items here. They're randomly chosen each round and they will vanish at the end and new ones will be drawn, and you can take only 1 per round. And the next thing you can do, you can spend an action to pick up a token here, and there's the same amount of tokens in both cities, and there are some tokens lying here because this is a 2-player setup, so we need only 6 tokens and there are 10. And there are random resources the same as on the rest of the board, but there are also 2 empty cupboards that you will not be able to get anything from them, so that's a bit of a risk there. So that's basically the day phase. We will go around the table and the meeples will move throughout the place here on the spaces, gathering resources, minding the event here, and then we would enter the night phase. During the night phase we have the steps here on the right side of the board that we need to complete. The first thing is to end the events here on the board. The first player has the first opportunity to finish the event. So if she wanted to, she could spend 4 metal and 2 wood to finish this event. If she does it, she takes the card and places it somewhere around her board to indicate that she's done it, and then she would get 4 points at the end of the game. If she doesn't want to or doesn't have the resources to do it, so that the next player to her left will have a chance, and so on around the table. If this event is not completed, during the dawn of the next round, the next event will be flipped, and they will add up. So the more there is unsolved events, the harder it is to gather materials and to run your bunker basically and survive. The next thing on the night track is to feed your people. For every room that you have at least 1 survivor in, you will need to feed the people in it. So every room on the upper right hand corner has the resources necessary in order to feed the occupants of this room. It's not per person, it's per room. So you need to look at your board and see what rooms have you built and how much food and water you need to spend. Also, there's the airlock here up top, and if you have at least 1 survivor at the top row where the 2 fields there, you need to spend 1 water, and if you have, let's say, another survivor here, you will need to spend another water. You cannot place it this way, this is an illegal move. You need to fill this spot first, and then you can start placing them on the bottom. So the next step here in the night phase, after you fed your people, would be to defend from the radiation. So the environment is irradiated from the atomic apocalypse that happened, and each round more radiation will come towards our bunker. It's mentioned here on around the event little board. On the first round there's only 1 radiation coming in, and then 2 and 2 and 2 on the second, third and fourth round, and then round 5 and 6 will deal 3 radiation to our bunker. So for every point that we acquire in our bunker, we will move this little cube here on the left side 1 up, and this will be detrimental to our score at the end of the game. But every person here in the airlock will prevent 1 point of this radiation. So the more people you have in the airlock, the more radiation you can safely take on your bunker. But you need water to have them there. The next step here is to get new survivors. So you can spend 1 food or water to acquire 1 survivor. How much do you spend is up to you, but you can only hire or gather so much people to fill in the airlock. So you can never get more than you can fit here in 1 round. After you've acquired new survivors, you get to build your building with your rooms. And the way you do that is you can spend here on the top, on the bottom of the summary here, you have the little sign showing that you need 3 resources, which are wood, metal, or microchips, to build 1 room. When you build a room, you just simply flip it, and at this point it's built. And on that step, you can also move people from the airlock to the rooms. But remember that you can never get people off the rooms back to the airlock. So if you move too many, then and you don't get any more in the next round, then there's problem with radiation coming. When you place a person here, remember that if there's at least 1 person in the room, this room will generate resources you need to spend to feed them. So it's better to fill the room immediately, because when the room is filled with people, so all the little spaces here are filled, then only this room will start giving you the ability, which you can, by the way, use once per round, anyway it is indicated on the room. And the next step is to fix our items. So I have given this person a backpack, and in order to fix it, you need to spend the resources that you have shown here on the top right corner of the tile. And when you spend those, let's spend this 3 wood here. You move it to the right side and to the right side of your board, and now this item is repaired, it is fixed, and you can use it during the day phase. That will give you some new abilities. Like, for example, this backpack gives you 2 more microchips when you spend an action to acquire microchips in the Luna Park. And that is the penultimate step in the night phase. The last step is to clean up, and when you clean up, you throw away all the meat that you have left off. It rots, it spoils, it's no longer edible, so you get rid of that. And canned food stays. You can have unlimited amount of canned food in your place, in your space here, and you can only leave 2 tokens of water here, so the rest needs to go away. And that's the end of the night phase. We go to the next dawn, so we fill up these spaces on the board, then we flip the next event, do whatever it says, and we then lie down all our meeples again and go around the table again with our actions and complete another day. And at the end of the 6th round, we tally up our score, which is summed up here on the handy cheat sheet. So we have the points that are marked here on the event cards that we successfully finished. Then we have points for rooms that are built and filled up with people. So this room, for example, let's set it up like that. This room will give us points, but this one will not, because even though it's built, it doesn't have enough people in it to run. So this will not give us points, and there's a little table on the card that tells us how many points we get for a given amount of rooms that we have built. Then we modify our score by the number here on the left on the radiation track. Then we get 1 point for every survivor here in our bunker, and then 1 point for every item that we have successfully repaired. And there's another thing I haven't told you about yet, is when you build items, they have this halves of a symbol on the side. If you ever manage to fix 2 items that match the symbol, you will get 1 more point for such a pair. So you get 1 point for each pair of fixed items you successfully built. Whoever has the most points at the ends gets to sit in a convoy and get to a safe place to spend the rest of their lives in, leaving the rest to basically die here around this dam. So there you have it. That's Outlive for you. It's really gorgeous. The production value in here is really cool. The little tokens that I had previously some reservations about the size basically are perfect. They're really thick. They're 3 millimeters thick, so really that's insane. And the tokens here for animals and for the searching through the cities are really thin, so that they do not stack up too high on the board. And these regular tiles are really correct in thickness, so everything is how it's supposed to be. I have nothing to mention here that in terms of production value. So if you like it, go and buy it. I highly recommend it. If you like this worker placement mechanics, it's on the lighter side of Euro games, but it's highly thematic, at least for me, and it can fry your brain, at least when you're starting with that game. I'm sure after a few games it will get better, and you will feel a lot better after the game. But it's gorgeous, it's really thematic, it's cool. So if you liked it, go ahead and get yourself a copy. And that'll be it. Thanks, and stay geek and stay proud.